Blinds are 12.24 with a running ante.
200 looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a 200 ante.
Oh, no, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 300 ante.
Right,
Actually,
okay, I'm just pausing it here. Stack sizes are... BR Savage looks to be the big chip leader on our table. I have... I had 90 something K at the beginning of the hand. And then we've got a couple of shorties here. Miss Poker, who, if I remember, had been playing pretty tight. SB Round is quite a well-known MTT player. Anyway, chip leader raises. The button's on SB Round, so raises the cutoff. I defend with Jack 9 suited. Do you like this defend?
Yeah, I think it's a playable hand, isn't it? In the big blind, and you could quite easily hit something pretty large here and get paid off. And you can let it go pretty easy as well. You're not really looking just to make top pair, are you, with Jack 9 suited?
You're looking to make, with the suited connectors, you're really not looking just to flop one pair. You're really looking to make...
two pair min, basically.
Yeah, a really big flop or a big hand. Also, I mean, some people might argue, cut off big stat, you can re-raise. There's something about Jack 9 suited. It does play really, really well after the flop, and I don't want to re-raise and get re-raised all in and get pushed off my hands. So... The guy's made a 2.5x raise pre-flop. I've got a very nice hand to play post-flop.
Did you not bear in mind that you were out of position against, as you said already, quite an aggressive and heavily chipped player?
It's going to be difficult because he's basically going to, use his stack and try and push me around. But, I mean, BR Savage, quite a straightforward, tight, solid player. So, flop comes down, flopping me middle pair. I can lead out, or I can
check raise.
Let's see what happens. I check. He bets 7,200, which I call pretty quickly into about a 14k pot. So he leads out for half the pot. So this is all fairly standard. Now we've got three options: folding, check raising, or check calling.
And why at this point did you pick check calling? Did you not think he was in front at this point?
I do think I'm in front, but there's a lot of hands that can, if I check raise, could move all in on me.
But you're deep enough to make a check raise and let go, though, no?
Put it this way: with hands where I feel I might have the best hand, but I'm not 100% sure I've got the best hand, I like to go for a little bit of pot control and check call. If I check raise, I don't think I ever fold out a queen. I don't really ever think I'm going to fold out a flush draw. I don't think I'm going to fold out a hand like King 10. The problem is, by check raising a hand such as, middle pair with a fairly irrelevant average kicker, is that if I check raise, I'm just going to be folding out all the worst hands and building a really big pot out of position by hands that are a lot better than my hand.
Yeah, but by check raising now, you've made your stand. If you get played back at, you can let it go.
But why do I need to put a ton of money into the pot when I'm not really sure whether or not I've got the best hand or not? How often would you say I've got the best hand here?
I would say probably 50% of the time.
That's reasonable, because also he might not have a hand that's, if he's got ace-8 of clubs, he's got a really good hand.
Okay, but you've obviously thought about this particular play. What are you now going to do? Are you going to check irrelevant of what? All right, if a jack or a 9 comes, you're not going to be letting go of this.
If a jack comes or a 9 comes,
you're now committed to the pot.
I mean, there's going to be there's 30k in there. I'll have 3 pot size bets, or just under 3 pot size bets. I'm going to go broke with trip jacks or
a jack 9.
Jack 9, is a bit sick. King 10 has got there, but it's still pretty hard to
a non-club 9 or a jack, then you're going to get busy on this. But what is your next move if it blanks off a brick?
If it blanks off a brick, there is, some people would say would lead out for value. I mean, be very clear why you're betting. If you want to start putting money in the pot, you've got to be very, very clear of why you're trying to put money in the pot. Let's say it comes a deuce of diamonds on the turn. There's 29k, I lead out for 18k. Mm-hmm. Do you think he can call me with a worse jack? I mean, do you think that there's a worse... I mean, let's...
He's going to find it tough to call you with a jack, period, I think.
I know, but I want him to call with worse hands, and it's going to be weird with 30 grand.
Don't you want him to throw away ace jack?
He's not going to throw away ace jack for one bet on the turn. We're playing a 6 max handed game. He's going to call one off and reevaluate the river. I mean, look at his stack size as well. He's got 150k. He's got the chips to pretty much do it. I mean, the thing about this hand is that I've got a pretty good hand that I'm willing to get to showdown. If I'm willing to get to showdown, I'm willing to do it quite cheaply, and I don't want to start putting lots and lots of money in.
It sounds like a very passive play you're putting on this by just flat calling his check calling. Are you going to check call again on the turn? Let's see how it runs out. I'd like to see how you play the rest of this. You see, that's not a bad card for you, is it?
It's not a bad card. It gives me
You've
a
now got a gut
shot.
shot. Exactly.
Now there's 30k in the pot. 20...
What does his check tell you?
Well, this is what we've got to analyse. What does his check tell us? His check tells us that he made a continuation.
Did he have 9-10?
Well, I mean, is he going to check the nuts here on a flushing board? He probably figures with 29,000 in the pot, in order to capture 80,000, he probably has to bet the turn and bet the river. So I don't think he's got 9-10 necessarily. I've also got a 9. I think his hand here is...
Well, to be fair, you know that. You probably know the hand, don't you? Cause,
no, we didn't get this to showdown.
Okay.
I lost this hand.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing that, but
the thing of it is here, okay, rather than going, he has this hand, I'm going to try and construct an entire range for him. So he raises pre-flop, I defend. The board comes queen of clubs, 3 of clubs, jack of diamonds. I check, he bets. Given the modern day of poker where people make continuation bets all the time with basically all of their range, you know, if he raises with 6-7 of diamonds pre-flop and gets called and that flop comes out, he can bet here, yeah, because he can't show down 6-7. It's the only chance of him winning it is, you know, maybe represented.
But hasn't his range now completely narrowed for you?
Well, no, his range changes when he checks. I mean, this is what happens in order for a good poker player to try and work out what they're up against. Yeah. His raise pre-flop late position doesn't tell us that much. His bet on the flop doesn't tell us that much. His check on the turn against a bet on the turn tells us quite a lot.